Bonjour et bienvenue dans le podcasting, c'est la pratique. Je m'appelle David et mes pronoms sont il, lui.
And I'm Jamie, he, him.
Bonjour, je suis Robert, mes pronoms sont lui et him. And
Right, okay.
David, we have a guest on.
Yeah, we do. You fucked me up by doing it in French as well.
Well, this is how the Wiggles feel every day.
Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah, okay, if it wasn't obvious, we'll do another
might be
fucking...
time to let that grudge go.
I will never let that grudge go.
Yeah, if it wasn't obvious, we'll do another fucking Somewhere Else Paul episode, and obviously it's Spain. With that in mind, we went to the experts of Europol. The experts of Europol, Corner Späti, and they were kind enough to send over Ciarán to help us through it.
Gee, gach sasanig. Is Mr. Ciarán. Is he, him, my pronoun? Yeah, Konastashiv. We just saying languages.
Yeah, we
just doing shit.
I tried
now.
learning Serbian once.
Yeah, we're scaring off all our listeners who don't like them foreign languages. So some of them will be yelling loudly in English into their phone at this very moment.
It's all right. I'm here for those. I barely speak English, so you know what I mean. I'm here for that.
Yeah. I did learn the only phrase in Serbian that I learned was Stravo ja učim srpski, which is like, hello, I'm learning Serbian, and I need to learn the second part, which is please be nice to me.
Hi, Bart, I am weaving on a loom.
Serbian for peasants.
I thought the second part of that was there are no outstanding words against me in The Hague.
Yeah.
Do you have a
Serbia
small
telling
bottle?
you how to say which way is the Hague?
What's this?
Important
It's very
adjectives to learn
Moorish.
when learning any language.
Oh, fuck you. Anyway, Rob, this episode's your fault, go.
Yeah, I was just thinking, like, the other week it was the Albanians in the crossfire, now the Serbians. We're just like, no former Austro-Hungarian is safe when we're around.
Yeah, as soon as we find something to be mad at the Austrians for, we'll be, they're fucked.
Come at me, you dual-crowned bitch.
Point of contention, I don't really think the Austrians got that many Albanians. I think that was stopped by the Turks. Which is why they're all Muslim now.
Ah, okay.
Good for them.
Good for them. Less good news for us, though. Britain is no longer allowed to engage in warfare with either ninjas or zombies on Britain's streets. It's a new government, so we're not allowed to have knives anymore.
Yeah.
This is the latest in the war against crime. It is the Labour Knife Crime Action Plan is springing into action. Quote, in Britain, we often pat ourselves on the back that we don't have America's gun violence crisis. Yet, in plain sight, we are now witnessing our own crisis, a growth in knife crime and stabbings, and not enough is being done to stop it. So what they've done
I'm sorry. This is Labour's own words, yeah?
Yeah.
Because I'd just like to point out they've typed an horrific growth in knife crime. An horrific. Who the fuck wrote this?
Animal?
No, that's something. That is some fucking shit that like use bastards do over there. Because I have that with the like FT podcast, which is even more discerning because obviously British-based company, but like that podcast is hosted by American. And it's just like one of the episodes was called An History. And I'm like, no, shut up. Stop doing that.
An history?
You're not meant to acknowledge that you don't pronounce H's. An History.
Oh, fuck off.
Because I guess it's meant to be an and history or whatever the fuck.
How the fuck is the Labour
supposed to be
government somehow managing to find new ways to fuck me off to this fucking level?
The only correct way of using it is to say it's an horrible history, so far as I know. Yeah, so apparently, even though the Tories were in charge for a really, really long time, it is, quote, still easier to buy a lethal zombie-style knife online than it is to buy a kitchen knife on the high street.
What the fuck does that mean? What is their understanding of what that means?
Well, apparently you can do click and collect on an zombie-style knife.
Yeah. You just got to get down to Anne Argos.
No, that one's right.
Yeah, so, but, you know, like I said, I know all of you out there in podcast land are very deeply worried about getting, you know, assaulted by ninjas and or zombie killers. But don't worry about it. Idris Elba and Keir Starmer are on the case to, make the honorless killings
Together at last.
stop. And together with some other people, they have formed the Coalition to Tackle Knife Crime.
Okay.
Does that spell out cunt? No, it doesn't.
But yeah, they will not just be banning zombie knives, but which I think they just mean like big machetes, basically. But also the latest edition.
Wait, I thought you were doing a bit. They're actually calling it
yeah,
zombie
yes.
knives?
Yeah, it's a.
That's why.
Don't know the tab.
Why is this policy position being written?
I think the tabloids coined it.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a.
I'm gonna do some comedy.
This
comedy
sounds like
typing
someone who's
noises,
about to
but
do.
zombie knife. Oh, it has a Wikipedia page.
But it's.
Oh well, then it must be real.
What?
A zombie knife, brackets also known as a zombie killer knife or zombie slayer knife, is a type of ornate knife or bladed
Well,
weapon
they weren't using them.
inspired by zombie films and TV series. Which ones?
Well, it's just The Walking Dead, I guess.
Well, then I'm
Gavin
against
Stacey.
them. They should ban them, and they should ban the cause of them.
Yeah, I mean, it basically just looks like I just clicked on the images tab, and it's either just like a straight up machete or like something that would be used in a Klingon duel. That's about as much as I can give you.
I don't think a batleth has ever been used.
They haven't banned Kakpla, have they?
No batleths or mechleths were ever used to kill zombies.
But yeah, so apparently no longer will you not be able to buy these things, from the high street, as you so often can right now. But the coalition to tackle knife crime is going to turn its, metaphorical guns, I suppose, on you buying the same things online. Because, I don't ask questions about details like that. I don't think that's appropriate, Jamie, at this point in time.
Are people buying them on Amazon?
Yeah, apparently. So one of the proposals is that they want to introduce criminal sanctions for tech executives who allow knife sales on Amazon, eBay, and Instagram. Now, I didn't know that Instagram was a big, knife marketplace.
That's a drop shipping scam. That knife's not going to be good. It won't be able to kill any zombies. I strongly recommend, actually, top hobby for whenever you're bored at night. Just open up the Amazon app or go to Amazon on your browser or whatever, and just type in things you think shouldn't be sold on Amazon. Like, the results for Sword are great.
How to light up GCHQ at 3 a.m.
No, officer, I was just curious as to whether Jeff Bezos would sell me fertilizer.
As soon as... It's so fucked up that you can get that in the north of Ireland, but you can't get it in the Republic. What are we doing?
Just waking up with a massive hangover, the posties there with 2 tons of orange juice concentrate. You're like, what the fuck? What did I do last night?
As soon as you said high street, the first thing I immediately thought to Google was vape knife. I'm very happy to report. I'm very happy to report these are real things.
Yes.
Stabbing myself in the face to take a very stressful vape.
Sherlock Holmes going
have you
into
ever
his
put a fag in your mouth and let the wrong end of it? Like, imagine that, but worse.
Benedict Cumberbatch going into his mind palace because, you know, the victim smells of bubblegum cake.
I found a wonderful enterprising company called Puffco. And they sell hot knives, what they're referring to as hot knives. Hell yes.
I love this. This is so good.
Imagine that
Rob.
scene from Aliens, but like fucking Bishop's like smashing a fucking massive elaborate vape rig into fucking Hudson's fist. Just denting the fucking table with it.
Okay, multiple websites are saying hot knife as if this is an established word, like zombie knife, I guess.
I gotta see this, like.
It's the latest...
Apparently I should feel bad for not knowing a hot knife.
Yeah. The Lucas
That was hot
Sardine
knife, not
hot
like a
knife.
band I saw 10 years ago. Yeah, what the fuck is going on? How is this a real thing?
Why are the knives hot?
Keir Starmer should get on this.
Yeah. But yeah, the other part, you know, apart from the, you know, what I'm sure will be a criminal prosecution of Jeff Bezos any day, is apparently that like they're going to make posties more responsible for doing more ID checks. So, you know, if you get your package from
why not make them
hotknife.is,
responsible for delivering the fucking post first? Also, I've just found a Swiss Army knife that has a vape on it.
Sick.
Yeah, I saw that too. It's sick.
That's
beautiful.
fucking sick.
You gotta hand it to those misogynistic cow farmers. The Swiss do some things right.
Fuck me, I live in this country. I'm gonna go get two tomorrow.
Well, I need the backup one, obviously.
Yeah. Well, I need to keep one like tactically in my shoe.
Yeah.
Rob.
I love being the guy in the vape knife sales shop in Bern, being like, all right, say a woman approaches you and she wants to vote. You pull out this.
Become the Jason Bourne of huffing darts.
I'm gonna get customized shoes made. It'll be like Rosa Klebb, where I click my shoes together like a vape pops out of the left one.
Right, Rob, you're saying that Labour's going to make these illegal, yeah?
Not the Rosa Klebb shoe vape. So far as I know, those are still legal.
Oh, well, that's good. Good news for everyone.
No, then I'm not really sure whether or not they're going to make these knives illegal. I think they're just like going to make it like you'll just get more punishment if you have one.
Because
they're
already fucking illegal.
They should threaten to make the Rosa Klebb shoe vape illegal, and then they'll like get fucking huge donations from Tarantino to not do that.
I mean, from an outside observer, just this whole conversation of Keir Starmer is going to finally stop knife crime or whatever. Of just like, yeah, I've just heard about knife crime in the UK, I guess. Also, I've just discovered this great new band called The Streets. I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Like, I mean, I'm still reading the Wikipedia, which, you know, isn't anything against Rob's research, but more is about the Labour Party's fucking complete failure to do anything real. But these have been illegal since 2016, specifically zombie knives.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, but now they're going to be even more illegal with like more punishment. Because
you might argue that it would be like better and maybe more effective to do something about the causes of crime itself. You know what I mean? And then by extension, perhaps reduce the incidences of knife crime. But rather than just ban ridiculous fucking cartoon knives, for fucking Counter-Strike players and children. You know, it's like the thing where they announced this week they were also going to get rid of ninja swords because they're a plague sweeping the fucking nation. Do you know what I mean? Can't get to Big Tesco without being beset by shinobi.
No, you guys have like 5 years until you have to learn how to chop your vegetables with a fucking spoon. The way this is going.
Yeah, I'm not an expert. I'm a simple country lawyer, etc. But like, things are either illegal or they're not.
They could be extra illegal. Like, it's, you'll be put on double secret probation. It's pretty much the same.
Yeah. Or there's a wonderful legal gray area where no, officer, this is actually just an innocent vape.
Yeah. This is actually a wraith blade. Let's not do that joke again.
No, it's not.
Would a zombie knife smell like cinnamon apple pie? I think not, Your Honor.
It's going to be double illegal, and so then you'll get early release from 2 prisons.
Yeah, it's like you get released from your prison and the prison of your choice.
It seems insane to be going like, all right, okay, so there's this thing that's already illegal. We're going to make it extra illegal, more jail time in the jails that we're currently having to like just shake upside down so people fall out. You know what I mean? Maybe there's something better you could be doing with your fucking time.
No, you could just do what the Danes do, where you just make like an extra bonus like area within your country where like all fines for crimes are double what they usually are. What's the ethnic makeup of those areas? Don't worry about it.
But in the meantime, before we finally get rid of the plague of Ronin that wander the British Isles, I have good news for you. Warwickshire Police did arrest one man a couple weeks ago, I think, who was carrying a 60-centimeter replica of the Zelda Master Sword.
Oh,
yes.
Did we at some point get, those fucking occasional tweets you would get from police forces where they were like, look at what we seized in like today's fucking extravaganza. Am I imagining, did I dream it, or was there one of those that had fucking like Frostmourne from World of Warcraft in
it? I really hope when that guy get put in the back of the wagon, he said Return of Ganon.
Yeah, but
the new Legend of Zelda game, you have to get the sword back from police custody.
60 centimeters isn't that fucking big, is it really?
It's 20. It's less than an A4 page.
Actually, it's way shorter.
Oh,
I put a picture in the guest chat so you could have a look at it. It looks, life-threatening to be sure.
Jesus fucking Christ, like.
It's the height of an A4 page. It's the exact size of an A4 page.
Do you know what it is? I could fight that guy. all the years at primary school, we spent like sword fighting with plastic rulers, and finally I found the weapon that it can overcome.
The secret trick that Ganondorf has been missing all these years. The plastic ruler.
Yeah. Just twisting it for like 20 minutes, like to try and get it to snap because it says shatterproof on it. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah. You can't give that to an all-boys school. The shatterproof ruler. Yeah, it's a challenge.
Yeah.
Is one plastic to rule them all? Is that much, or is that little?
Instead of rock paper scissors, you can play Master Sword, ruler, Bunsen burner.
Plastic ruler, Master Sword, shoe vape. All the kids are playing it these days. Quote the article of The Guardian.
Taking a big huff on the knife vape. It's like the ocarina from Zelda, but it teleports you right to the hospital.
Blowing 6 smoke rings from my ocarina. Quote The Guardian. On June 8, officers were made aware via CCTV of a man walking down the road in Nuneaton with the sword in hand. The man approached the officers with the blade visible, at which point he was arrested. He said that the sword was a, quote, fidget toy bought online to keep his hands busy. Sergeant Spellman of the Patrol's Investigation Unit says, we take a zero approach to bladed articles in public.
Is it even really bladed?
He can talk a big game because he's been doing all the shrines in Warwickshire, so he has like a fuck ton of heart pieces at the moment. I don't care what Master Sword you have, that cop's not going down.
Yeah, he did, by the way, simply for the crime of wanting to defeat Ganondorf and rescue the princess once again, go to prison for 4 months for this shit.
I mean, he's got the facial expression of a man who's been sent to prison for 4 months for carrying a fucking toy sword. That's exactly the face I'd be making as well.
I'm very sad to report that there is no results for Master Sword vape. Not seeing that.
Yeah,
seems like such an easy win.
But you can get Zelda branded vapes. I have good news for you.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Oh, Ocarina of Time vape. Hang on. That's come on.
On the other hand, I've now found a picture of someone who's had art commissioned for their upcoming Zelda-themed vape, which looks fucking sick.
They're commissioning that? They're not just like selling it to the internet? Oh, fuck yes.
I see you know how to play the Song of Healing.
Alright, whatever this artist was paid was too little.
I have entirely changed my mind. The 21st century is the greatest fucking time to be alive in any...
It really does make it look like the guy who's arrested did commission this artwork.
This is fucking sick. Let's just bin off the rest of this chat and see if we can find more fucking computer-themed vapes.
I'm gonna, like every proper noun that's going to be mentioned in this episode going forward, I will be googling and putting in the word vape afterwards. So don't worry about it.
Damn it!
Macron.
I was literally doing this just now. I was just looking up. That's the.
I have my I have my Macron sticker pack on Telegram. I can do that. If anything, I can show you all of that cursed fucking energy that I have.
Before we get to Macron-shaped vapes, do we briefly want to talk about Germany, about how like Eastern Germans aren't really people, so them voting for fascism doesn't count?
Honestly, I want to briefly turn that picture of Link vaping into a sticker for the podcast Discord.
Yeah, £5 about patreon.com/praxiscast. We have such shites to show you.
I love how the artist did exactly nothing with the vape. It's just a vape. They weren't like, oh, let me make it like fit the aesthetic of Hyrule or whatever. No, regular vape. He's just got a regular vape.
Yeah, but like on the other hand, the cloud is like is sick blue. So like you could.
Oh, he is blowing mad cotton. Are you kidding? He is weaving stories with that fucking vapor. After you see Link with this shit, you will not believe. Like, he's fucking recreating the water temple in the sky.
Imagine if he had like clouds like this and that fucking sailing one, the Windward whatever. Like, the game would have been so much faster.
Yeah.
All right. Are we trying to move on? Or Jamie, do you want a minute to create a sticker?
Yes.
I'm doing it right now. Just carry on.
Whole recording crashed because I've opened Photoshop.
I thought we've done one slightly more extended bit of British news than I thought we would. If I'm honest with you. But I thought we should maybe briefly talk about about Germany, about how they're also not having any fascist problems because Eastern Germany basically isn't real. So you don't need to worry about it. So very briefly, the AfD, the Alternative für Deutschland, wins in the German state of Thuringia, taking about 5 or 6% more of the.
Yeah, don't call it Thuringia. I hate when people call it Thuringia. It sounds so perverse.
It's full of Germans. What else do you want me to call it?
When I had to look up the International Phonetic Alphabet and found out that G is a soft G, I fucking recoiled into my skin. Disgusting.
Do you want me to call it Thuringia then? Is that better?
Perverse. Turingen.
Okay, we can do that. So like,
just call it the former DDR.
Yeah, but it's only a bit of.
Yeah, well,
like Thuringia sounds like something like someone that Boris Johnson slept with, and or something that he has gotten from sleeping with people.
Either that or the location of the next Zelda game, because that is also entirely possible.
That man with the Master Sword is spiritually East German. I recognize that. Waiting for the wall to come down to finally experience freedom, only to be arrested for my tiny replica of a video game sword from Japan.
Imagine flying your kite like over the wall into West Germany. You just landed, someone offers you a vape. It's like the world opens up to you.
Go West!
The cool intro music starts. You just find more types of Levi's that fall apart after you've been hit for a few times.
The armor class system in now West Germany, the high rule there is just Levi's.
I should say, by the way, that we are allowed to call the head of the Thüringen AfD because he is one, said the German court. So we can call. So now I don't know if we can call him we can definitely call him a fascist because that's not libelous.
Yes, there you go.
I love we might have to bleep that other word I just
call
used.
Him fascist. I don't think we can call him. Think of the first word you think of when I say Germany and fascist. Now pretend I didn't say that.
Austrian.
But yeah, so basically they won. I think they're still looking for a coalition partner unless they've like resolved that little matter by linking up with the Conservatives, the CDU. But
yeah, it's a fucking fraught situation. Should also say that like the same weekend we get the Sachsen like elections as well, where like AfD comes second by like less than 1% to the CDU. So like, yeah, and then just a bunch of bullshit. The CDU immediately decides they're like going to be the natural governing party because that's what happens when you're the CDU. They are the default party of Germany. And they're looking to like make a coalition theoretically without the AfD, but now we're hearing some noises from them being like, oh yeah, maybe we'll work with the AfD. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. Very predictable outcome. Mostly just dealing with the Liberals deciding like, oh, don't worry about it. East Germans are a type of orc. Just ignore it. It's fine.
Yeah, that was an actual article in The Guardian, by the way, that we're referencing. That basically, like, fascism can only happen in East Germany because, yeah, basically it's Mordor over there, and, like, you know, East Germans emerge out of clay or some shit.
Yeah. It's actually one of those, like, EU farming agricultural protectionism laws, like how any feta can come from a specific region of Greece or whatever. Yeah, you can only get fascism from, like, Erfurt or something like that. Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
it can't happen
otherwise you simply have to refer to it as sparkling racism. It's
yeah.
And I think the other thing that, like, of note in Germany is, like, Die Linke, so the traditional sort of socialist party, is, like, dying on its ass versus the Bund Sarah Wagenknecht, which is, like, liberal on the economics but, you know, conservative on the social stuff. You know, what if we did that again?
Oh yeah, what if?
Unless I've misunderstood the Bund Sarah
Wagenknecht. It's, like, so hard to tell with them because they are a brand new party. Like, literally, Bundeswehr Wagenknecht split from Die Linke just because of the Futurama scene of, like, make my own party with blackjack and hookers. It kind of, like, at worst, it's basically like Die Linke again, but with, like, no internal democracy. So, like, it's just whatever Sarah Wagenknecht says goes, but it's just going to have all the same problems and weird caveats that Die Linke had. Die Linke, we're just seeing, like, actual continuity Die Linke. We're seeing basically turn into what we saw from the last election, which is just becoming the party of East German cities, because they're getting into these parliaments in, like, Saxon because of Leipzig and Dresden specifically, whereas Bundeswehr Wagenknecht seems to appeal to more rural or Dorf, kind of like countryside people in East Germany, as well as some people in the city. Number one reason for seeing to support her is, like, the too much money has gone to Ukraine thing. That seems to be, like, more the motivating factor behind people voting for Bundeswehr Wagenknecht.
Yeah. So that's your brief overview of Germany, and also that the Greens are dying, which is quite funny because, you know, Greens going into a coalition with Conservatives and other people. What a shocker. I'm sure nobody on this recording has any experience of that, do they, David?
I do want to say, like, one thing that kind of, like, illustrates just how fucking stupid the Greens are. That I 100% illustrates their problem, right? Because, like, keep in mind, these elections happened in, like, 2 East German states, 2 parts of Germany that are completely fucked. Like, the average wage in East Germany is, like, €800 lower than the average wage in West Germany, and that's, like, rent in a lot of places in Germany. That's, like, a mortgage payment, easily. And, like, so that's, like, the difference. It's been fucked since, like, the 90s. It's just been getting worse and worse and worse in East Germany. And 74% of Green voters in East Germany said the economy was doing great. Like, no other party said this. The CDU, the SPD voters were like, the economy's doing bad. Like, the headlines at the moment are like, Volkswagen's going to pull out and cut jobs in Germany for the first time ever. So, like, yeah, they're just in the biggest fucking bubble of their lives.
It's not very Volks of them.
But yeah, I thought we've...
No, the Volks are now Bosnian. They're much cheaper.
I mean, the latest thing I saw today was that, like, in response to all of this, you know, the responsible, you know, centre-left government party in government is now decided to, like, abandon Schengen and start doing border controls to catch, like, migrants. You know, because that goes well.
Yeah, no, they've like, for weeks and months, they've just been, like, doing the drill tweet or the racism dial to try and stop people from voting AFD and vote for them instead. Like, the literal weekend before, and it was like 100% coordinated public media event is Germany deported people to Afghanistan for the first time since the Taliban took over, to really try and like get people to stop voting for the AfD. And it's useless. They didn't. They love the AfD more now because they see all this stuff and they're just like, oh, I guess the AfD was right all along. Everyone's saying it, including Olaf Scholz, the guy who looks like my maths teacher.
Yeah. Appeasement works. Germany knows this.
Yeah, it's a good history. Anyway, speaking of appeasement, shall we talk about our main topic for this evening?
Hello, and thank you for choosing Podcasting as Praxis. Our podcasters are experiencing an unusually high volume of unfunny bits at the moment, so you've been placed in a queue. Your patronage is important to us, and I need to inform you of the great benefits you freeloaders are missing out on by not subscribing on Patreon. A back catalogue of premium episodes, plus
2 bonus episodes
every month, ad-free regular episodes, plus you get access to our Discord, which, in addition to being able to harass the Praxis Cast crew with your favourite Star Wars characters, will allow you to listen to all of your favourite cutting room floor moments, such as... and...
Fuck off, Alistair.
Subscribing lets us create more of these hilarious moments, so please do subscribe for just $5 a month on patreon.com/praxiscast. And now, back to the episode.
About how, a centrist party with, emerging out of the wreckage of two previously ruling parties sort of emerged and then put the country on the right path of, fiscal sensibility and listening to the right people and getting the good technocrats in, and how the reign of a golden god is going to go on forever. So I think we could talk about France for a little bit.
Hooray.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, hooray.
Yeah, so like Macron is incredibly popular and has been for a really long time, and that's kind of our episode. So we'll do some commentariat, and that'll be that. Yeah, so
Oh yeah.
I thought before we'd get into like the latest like election shenanigans and stuff, I thought I would briefly ask Ciarán to tell us why Macron is such a world-beating superstar.
Oh, absolutely, I will. Okay, so what you need to understand about Macron is, to put it in the context of like British listeners, is imagine in a world where Change UK was technically like electorally viable. That's
Chaka Umuna lives that world every day.
Because like it's genuinely, yeah. So to put into context, for anyone who doesn't remember, Macron is very much the product of like the 2016 era. Everyone was scared after Brexit and Trump, so like he comes along as the liberal savior. At least that's the understanding in international media. However, there was this crazy thing you could have tried doing, which was listening to a French person describe their own politics, and you realize that's kind of not what's happening, because he splits. It's the wildest thing. He splits from Parti Socialiste. He was like Minister of the Economy under Hollande, who was like still holds the record for least popular sitting president of France. And the reason he was unpopular was because of the largely social and economic reforms he was trying to push through, which Macron then gets elected and then is like, well, I'm just going to do that now. So the crisis of Parti Socialiste basically describes where Macron comes from, because like Parti Socialiste is very comparable, I think, to what like Labour is in the UK, which it was for a long time. It was a party of both Blairites and like people like Corbyn, basically, of like good union people or whatever. Just imagine those two wings existed and they were roughly the same size as each other. This comes to a head with like Hollande's like socioeconomic reforms. Macron basically makes a split that takes the Blairites away. And the people who are actually committed to the idea of like even social democracy in France, start voting for La France Insoumise, basically. And anyone to the left of that also votes La France Insoumise.
Which is Mélenchon's party,
like
for people who don't keep up with their French politics. You might have heard of Mélenchon, basically.
Yeah. And that kind of leaves like Parti Socialiste in the lurch, but it does also create this political force behind Macron, which is just like kind of like the modern Labour Party, but we just don't have to pretend even a little bit that we're actually the Labour Party. We are just the party of like startups and racism
and crypto.
Austerity.
Didn't they try to do like crypto everywhere last year or this year even?
Jesus, I did not hear of that if they did. I can go through the litany of stuff that like people dislike Macron for. The big one is raising the retirement age, which resulted in riots and protests, regular protests that are actually still going on. And like everyone in government, like everyone trying to be in government now is like saying we're going to reverse this. Or like a lot of them are. He also was president during the like Paris attacks, which then called a state of emergency, and then Macron decided actually the state of emergency is forever. I'm just going to enshrine it into law. So hyper-militarized police that definitely... Look, the French Republic says we can't acknowledge race, so it's fine. Don't worry about it.
It's in the law. We wrote it down. Why are you being weird now?
Yeah,
one weird trick.
I don't see color. Yeah, all the police being like, I don't see color, I only see targets.
I don't see color, it's all green. Please let me take the night vision goggles off.
I was going to say, Sam Fisher, is that you?
I thought you were saying it's all green as in that like slow motion shooting thing from Fallout 3.
Presidential vax.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, to illustrate this point, actually, and I think a very early Macron thing was Macron having to fire his bodyguard because it turned out that one of his bodyguards, his hobby was going to protests, dressing up as a cop just so he could beat people up. And like, in like, you know, footage taken with a mobile phone, everything in the fray, you're kind of like, I guess that's a cop. Until someone just kind of like gets you to look at it more closely. It's like, wait, there's no signs on any of this. He's wearing like the fucking pillow casing from like a Ford, like an old Ford car around his chest while wearing like a bike helmet, beating people up with a fucking stick. And it's just like, wait, you're just entering riots on the side of the cops free, like willy-nilly? This is just
that is a man.
This is the kind of culture.
No, that's a man who wants to be stepped on by firefighters.
Because of me, they have a law now.
Yeah.
I think it was back in the 90s. I remember reading something in the papers about how they were having to change the law in Britain because there was a guy who just kept turning up at the scene of road accidents in his own ambulance and taking patients away. And there was no law that said there was no law that said a dog couldn't play basketball. Do you know what I mean? So they were powerless to stop the guy from just abducting people from the scene of traffic accidents.
There's no law saying dogs can't be paramedics.
Yeah, an ambulance was legally defined as any vehicle with a patient in it. Checkmate.
Can I briefly like check where he
no.
was taking the patients away to? Was that ever clarified?
Hospital? He was literally just like doing the paramedic's job for them. You know what I mean? Like,
it was a citizen's ambulance.
Yeah.
Oh god. Yeah, it's Macron is quickly became the face of kind of like neoliberalism in France, in the sense that like Germany, but unlike the US and the UK, the transition to neoliberalism was slower, comes later. There's like a bit more resistance into it. So like with France, it's basically like Chirac and Macron over the period of like 3 decades almost, trying to like do what Margaret Thatcher did in like 2 terms. So like, yeah, you've got that kind of stuff going on, and everyone fucking hates him now because of that. There's also, I do want to add, the extra little bit that gets completely fucking lost in international media and international understanding of Macron, which is he is very, 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 very right-wing, in the sense that it is reported by his biographer that he believes in the Great Replacement theory.
Yeah, somehow that does not surprise me. I didn't know this, but this is one of those things that, like, things I didn't know, but also knew at the same time.
Yeah, there was intrinsic knowledge, yeah.
Yeah.
Just very quickly to go back to that guy with the ambulance, by the way, if he'd been doing that in Germany, it would be a Volkskrankenwagen.
There you go.
Sorry.
Yes, it would be.
I had to fucking excise it.
All right, let me quickly Google citizen ambulance.
I think it'd be. I think you might. I think it would be Burger Krankenwagen, actually, but still.
Yeah, get it together, bro.
Yeah. I was fucking. Hey, that was fucking David. That had nothing to do with me or my German.
Oh yeah. Anyway, but like Macron does supposedly say in private that he believes all this stuff, but he doesn't say it publicly because there would be riots in the streets. Other observers in France have noticed that some of the language he uses, some of the terminology he uses is very reminiscent of, because everyone forgets the Great Replacement, Le Grand Replacement, is originally the work of a French crank. So like he had a second book where he makes a bunch of stuff up, and Macron has kind of at various points referenced things and used terminology that was kind of coined.
Is that the book that's like the French version of the Turner Diaries? Because there is one of those. And I'm trying to remember what it's called.
Well, like I said, the Great Replacement is like, I think it's from a book called The Great Replacement, and it's like originally a French theory.
Wait, no, sorry. In terms of British politics, ephemera, wasn't that the book that was on Michael Gove's bookshelf that everybody fell over during COVID, while we got a good look at everybody's bookcase in the first lockdown?
Was that not The Bell Curve?
No. It was by a French author, I remember this.
Yeah, I think it was The Bell Curve, wasn't it?
Oh, I don't know.
Le Curve du Bel.
Yeah, I was literally about to say Le Bel Curve.
That's if the bell curve is for women.
That's the lesser-known sequel for Whom the Bell Curve.
Private piracy for bells.
Yeah, no, it's you got like Gillette and Venus, and Le Bel Curve is like, for whatever reason, like a bit more expensive than the Bell Curve, but whatever. Don't worry about it. Yeah, so like Macron is weird. He's just hated in general for being kind of toothless, and everyone is starting to get very resentful of the fact that he's built himself off of constantly pitching himself against the far right, and done a lot to support the far right, because he kind of used the success of his political project as like relying on the Republican front to boost him up, because on his own terms he's not very popular. I mean, probably somewhere between like 20% to 30% of the French population is actually behind his political project. So yeah, it doesn't really stand up to scrutiny when you do like, I don't know if you have like any kind of like decent presidential candidates running against him.
But, fortunately he didn't have any of those for a while, except, of course, the people who were a bit more racist, which is the Front National, or the Rassemblement National, as we are now obliged to call them, which is basically like the Le Pen family project. Well, until they fractured and like she kicked her dad out, and then her niece started an even more right-wing thing with like that with Zemmour, the party whose name I've forgotten, but
yep. Oh, you've forgotten the name
yes,
of Reconquest? The Charles Martel special. It's just like the next party's just going to be called Vichy Forever or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, so all of this is basically, a bit of scene setting to, the upcoming elections, which weren't like not presidential, because those are coming up in 2027, but the parliamentary elections, which we sort of called basically on a whim after like polling was done that showed that like Le Pen's party would like outpoll him enormously for, I think it was like the European elections, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. National Rassemblement do very well in the European elections. Macron's political project under various names, I believe now called
that's the
Renaissance,
party,
eats shit. Yeah, the French parliamentary system is dumb as fuck. I cannot stress this enough. It's too many branding exercises for like various MPs' failed graphic design sons and daughters. But I
mean, when you're on your fifth fucking Republic
on yeah, exactly. Rebrand for each one. I mean, for the sake of this episode, I'm just going to call everyone and everything behind Macron Macronists. Like, it's just the easiest way to think of it, because there's too many names and it fucking sucks.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch. Just stop there. Like, there's like under the banner, when we get to the actual election, there's like 4 or 5 party, like the Modems and there's some others who are all like fall under En Marche or something like that, or well, whatever. It's stupid bullshit.
Yeah, and then like there's things like, yeah, like, I mean, just to give you an example of the kind of bullshit at play in the French parliamentary system is like when coalitions are formed technically between parties, like a party can split to kind of say like, okay, one side of the party is actually going to coalition. Like, imagine if the Tories split on the lines of like, oh, some of us are going to coalition with Reform, and then the ones who don't, we're going to rebrand into, I don't know, we're officially called the Tories now, and they're the Conservatives. It's like they do rebranding for like where they fall on coalition lines. It's nuts.
Oh, that's kind of like the Scottish Parliament when the Greens went into coalition, except the Greens stayed the Greens, and the people who joined the government became the minister for made up shit and also fairy tales.
Kind of like that, but like more official. And again,
minister for long stands.
Yeah. Not minister for sick vapes, which would have been a real post and probably the most popular person in Scotland. Yeah. Anyway, so
I already see the minister for sick vapes, and he's posting this chat.
Exactly. So basically, Macron calls a snap election. I think basically on the bet that like, okay, if we do it now, all the people who aren't fash are going to be so scared that the fash will get in that they'll all vote for me, the nice, sensible centrist, and not for the scary leftists, because the scary leftists are scary and also like disastrously prone to infighting, which, none of us have any experience with either.
Yeah. This is where you get into the problem of trying to understand the mind of Jupiter. It is still not entirely clear why Macron called the election, and I think now we've arrived to the point where he's not saying why he did it, because I think it probably didn't work out the way he wanted it to. And thus, if he says why he did it, people can then, pin him on, oh, you failed. The theories going around were that, like, it was not about, like, the strength of the far right, but it was about the weakness of everyone else. That, like, if I call a snap election now, my party, my political project is the only one that has their like shit together to do this, and everyone else is not got their affairs in order, and they will crumble. That didn't work out. Womp womp. The other idea was that like he could do what Pedro Sanchez did in Spain, where he just like basically just stares, plays the game of chicken with the public and everyone votes for him anyway. Yeah, or like there was also the the kind of like Biden theory of just like he's just tired and he just gives up at this point. He doesn't want to be here. The Rishi Sunak theory that was, which I don't really buy that one.
So anyway, elections are called. And, like I said, instead of just, the usual thing happening in the French left or the left just in general, like the French left actually like really quickly gets its shit in order. And like the old Parti Socialiste, the Greens, I think even the Communist Party of France, or one of them, I imagine, because there's always 5,000 communist parties everywhere.
Yes.
And then the Mélenchon's party, France Insoumise, sort of get together and form one coalition, the New Popular Front or Nouveau Front Populaire, and they actually like do incredibly well, and that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. This is unprecedented because basically what happens is, to skip ahead a little bit to the actual results of the election, is there's effectively like a three-way tie between NFP, National Rassemblement, and Macron's party. The most shocking results of that is actually probably Macron's party, because by the time we get to the night before the election, people are like, NFP has kind of pulled it out of the bag. They're doing quite well. It might be a little too late. Everyone was kind of afraid that it was going to... What people thought the night before was it was going to be National Rassemblement, the far right, first, and then like in a close second, NFP, with the like Macronist kind of like wing of the party basically destroyed. That's not what happens. We get a three-way tie. It's weird. And they don't really know what to do with that because that's never happened before in the French system. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, but before we get there, I do want to briefly stop off because it was one of my favorite like little subplots that happened during the elections. It's like the old, I don't know, mainly I think analogous to like the UK Conservative Party, the Les Républicains, which used to be like one of the main ruling parties of the entire country for a really long time, had like devolved to such a point that some of them were considering to do an alliance with Le Pen's Rassemblement, and then that didn't happen. But then they ended up like locking each other out of the office, and like one faction had control over the Twitter account and another over the Facebook account, and
Yep. All right. I really have to get home this point, which is Les Républicains, the kind of like former, default center-right party of France, basically had like two wings, and they were divided by which type of Catholic you are. Are you kind of like Irish Catholics, Austrian Catholics, Polish Catholics? To be Catholic is to be miserable, and to be Catholic is to just kind of like constantly work until you die, and then you get to go to purgatory if you're lucky. Or like, because you and all those unbaptized babies. Or are you the type of Catholic like the Spaniards, the Portuguese, the Italians, which is, it's all about sucking and fucking, eating great food, and as long as at Sunday you tell the priest you're sorry for all the sucking and fucking you did, it's fine. And if you don't tell the priest about all the sucking and fucking you did, you get to go to purgatory with all the unbaptized babies. So like that's the kind of like divide within, France is where these two types of Catholics meet, right? And it's best illustrated by Les Républicains, because all the ones who are going like, I'm so fucking libidinal, I am driven, absolutely driven by like id. I'm just so angry at seeing a Muslim person at any point. I saw a burkini once and now I'm ready to nuke all of the Middle East. Every single one of them, without fail, have Italian last names. And then, like, the part of Les Républicains that, like, governed France for ages were the, like, you know, Pécresse, who was, like, a, you know, former politician within Parisian politics, who's just like, hey, gang, why don't we try to be like Protestants and do business? And everyone's like, boo, shut up. I want to get angry at Muslims on Facebook. And that won in the end. And that's what Les Républicains is now. Like, it's just... the guy leading this is a man called Eric Ciotti, pronounced in the French, but if we all look at it in reasonable and see, like, oh, that's Ciotti. That man is from the south of France, back when, like, you know, these places were the two same countries, thank you, Napoleon. So, like, he's the one who locked himself in the headquarters. He was the one who's like, the future for this party is just becoming a bitch for Le Pen. We gotta do it. Yeah. Let me do it.
Why won't you let me do it?
And
I'm going to sit here alone. I think at some point he was like live streaming him sitting alone at his desk saying why he's cool.
He explained later that the reason he locked it is because he felt threatened because he is short.
See, this...
How do you make that argument in a country where Macron is in charge?
See, this is where the philosophical argument just goes awry. You know, you think you're going to get a short philosopher king, but they always turn into short philosopher tyrants in time.
Yes.
Someone out there is going to get that joke. It's funny if you found that funny. Write in. Anyway, back to the main tale. So the left unites. They have a very cool like platform of like not doing the retirement age thing, guaranteeing minimum incomes. You know, undoing like a load of cuts that Macron's government had done. Like basically a bunch of really cool stuff that like we would like to have in the UK as well. And then in response to that, Macron and his entire party basically said, well, the fascists and the MPF are exactly the same because it's horseshoe theory and they are good centrists, of course. You know, so like basically they just... Macron's party spends more time attacking the left than they do the right in a shocking twist of events, I should say.
Yeah, so I think that's kind of like... That is definitely technically true now that the election has happened. During the election, there was a little bit of collaboration because I see you want to talk about the 2-round system. Basically, during the election, the NFP candidates agreed to step down in any race, in any like constituency where it looked like them participating would split the vote and get like a far-right person in favor of a Macronist getting in, right? They said, like, look, we'll back down. And in all cases, they did that. And the reverse happened, I think, in half the constituencies for the Macronists, where, like, half of the Macronists kind of stepped down saying, like, if I run, I'm going to split the vote. I'm going to stop the NFP from getting in favor of the far right. Some of them stepped down, to be fair, and some people in Macron's project seem to believe in the kind of, like, what's referred to as the Republican Front, stopping fascists from getting into the halls of power. But then some just don't. And now with these election results, the fucking claws are really out.
Yeah, so basically what happens, like, as we were mentioning, at the end of these elections, there's a 3-way tie. The blocks aren't of the same size. The left block, the NFP block, is the biggest, followed by Macron, followed by Rassemblement National, which is, if you were online at the time, is also that evening when we saw all those incredibly funny videos of the disappointed fascists with the champagne already in their hand, which was hilarious.
Yeah.
We're hilarious, cool, and good. Then after that, like there's sort of an idea that they were going to like put politics on pause while the Olympics is going on. So like there's a while where like politics doesn't happen, or it does happen, but they're all pretending it doesn't, basically. And then basically what you get is the leftist group puts forth their candidate for prime minister because they are the biggest faction, Sophie Caster, I think, or Couster. Caster. And she's already a compromise within the MPF. And then Macron just says, no, she will never become prime minister, because if I appoint someone from the left, that would de facto make the country unstable. And that is like not, as president, it is my job to make sure the country is stable. Is that roughly correct?
Kinda. I think the only thing you really need to illustrate is the very apparent pettiness that kind of comes through. Because you're right, initially it was like the Olympics, the politics has to be on pause. We'll have some op-eds about whether the opening ceremony was too gay or not gay enough, and that can be a culture war for a bit. But other than that, like, parliamentary politics is on pause. And then they're like, oh, well, of course, the Paralympics. And then after the Paralympics, it was like, well, it's the first day back for children, so we can't do politics now. They're going back to school. Pretty much. And it's also worth pointing out that the school break in France is, the summer school break is relatively short enough that, the entirety of the summer school break for children, there was no government. So, like, all that's happening, and Macron is also coming up with excuses, and Macronist, functionaries are coming up with excuses as to why the government can't happen, or like why we can't have the NFP, because excuse number one is basically they fixate on La France Insoumise. La France Insoumise is a dangerous force. They're anti-Semitic, which brackets means they support Palestine. And
if you're from the UK, you have heard this song before.
So they're like, yes, yeah. France does, I believe, have the largest Jewish population of anywhere in Europe. It's like it is very like it centers their politics quite a bit, and they really do talk about this in very mixed, in a weird way. But like at the same time, Macron goes, "Hey, we can't stand any LFI ministers. We cannot uphold any LFI ministers," thinking because Macron believes his own hype that like Mélenchon is an egoist and like is all about Mélenchon, but like Mélenchon just comes out and says, okay, we don't need there to be any LFI ministers. We all agreed to this common platform with the NFP, and as long as the government represents that, we're fine. We don't need ministers. I don't need to become a minister. None of my other like friends in the LFI need to become ministers. It's grand. Because Castex is not from the LFI. To which they're like, oh, actually, that's not good enough. Any party platform agreed upon by the LFI is actually also too dangerous and anti-Semitic. Yeah. Like charging kids only €1 for school meals. That's anti-Semitic. We can't stand that. They put forward like various like candidates that are supposed like prime ministerial candidates floated in the media that are supposedly appeasements to the left, like Bernard Cazeneuve, who's like he's kind of like the Blairite kind of like PS Parti Socialiste kind of like candidate, and then the
I love a Blairite sop to the left.
For rejecting. Yeah, they do that, and then like try to blame the left for rejecting them, and they like put the the head of the party of like Parti Socialiste on the radio and being like, well, actually we didn't reject him, we just put out a list of demands and said like, well, as long as he follows these demands, we're totally fine with him being prime minister. And like Macron still gets thrown around being like, no, you rejected him, it was your fault. So just constant whining about why it couldn't be them, and that kind of arrives at the position that we're at now of the
so they found one in the end, and it's that old foe of Britain, it's Michel Barnier, who apart from anything else is just a piece of shit too, who's like either just a straight up technocrat or also like a massive xenophobe at minimum, racist at worst. He led his own party for a while as well to like incredibly non-impressive results. I think he got like 6% of the vote last time they ran or something.
Yeah. He's also, we should also say, massive homophobe. He opposed the decriminalization of homosexuality. Yeah, he's why he's gotten picked is very transparent, I think, to the French public, that even though both Macron and his functionaries, as well as Le Pen and her functionaries, are denying this, the media and the French public have basically realized that a backroom deal was made between these two groups, because Michel Barnier is, like you said, he ran in like Les Républicains primary to be like, what if we did a moratorium on immigration? That was only in 2021, late 2021. He is like a massive kind of like bureaucrat. It's like the closest you could get to just like putting Draghi in charge. Like there's a great photo of Michel Barnier meeting the Nazi Pope, where he's just got like a bunch of printed off graphs, and I'm like, I don't know why you would bring a bunch of graphs to a meeting with the Pope. What is that graph?
The Pope loves graphs.
What graph does
Everyone knows that.
Apparently.
Von graphs.
Birth rates, I'm assuming. With that Pope, anyway.
Yeah, so this is when he's running as a candidate in 2021. This is a translation of a tweet he put out when he was a candidate. Quote, I want to stop immigration, an end to regularization. I want to limit family unification. I want zero social immigration and a constitutional shield to protect us against case law that is always too favorable to foreigners. If that sounds at all familiar to you, yeah, that's basically the reform position. That's the Nigel Farage position, or the Labour position at this point. Who fucking knows anymore?
Yeah, but that shit didn't fucking work because Barnier was like a fossil at this point, and he was surrounded by the likes of Eric Ciotti and like Fabrice Legari or whatever his name is, being like, what if we just started giving everyone grenade launchers that could only work on brown people? So like all of this like using like high scoring Scrabble words just didn't fucking work anymore. So yeah, and the other reason why Macron likes him is he's technically not, from National Rally, so they can kind of claim that he's not working with the fascists, even though he is. And he is also really old and is not running for president because Macron is really fucking full of himself. So he can't have someone upstaging him.
Yeah, so all of this kind of like leads us to, well, like, I don't know, to part of, I think, Bart, this is either an interview or like his first speech as Prime Minister. This is a quote from the BBC. Barnier promises to, quote, tell the truth to the French people about the financial and environmental challenges facing the country and work with all those in good faith towards great respect and unity. And would you believe it, him and Keir Starmer get along incredibly well.
Huh.
I would believe it.
Yeah. So France is staring down the barrel of like a really fucking bad austerity budget. And one of the real reasons why Macron did not want the left in charge, because even though the government was supposedly on pause, the caretaker government, to translate it as best as possible, was still working away on the new budget. What should have been like the purview of the new government, they were just like making the new budget, and it's like basically cuts to everything except for employment and education, which are only getting a 1% increase and a 0.5% increase, which is lower than inflation, so also technically a cut. Yeah, so France is looking at real fucking austerity hours.
Yeah.
Can't believe this is the left's fault.
Yeah. It is.
It is.
If you read The Guardian, and we both read the same, Kieran and I read the same piece today. Yes, it is the fucking left's fault, because it should have simply been more grown up and also done some austerity.
I love Alexander Hurst. He is so fucking funny. If anyone hasn't seen the Guardian's like France correspondent or seen his little face appear in the headline, the man legitimately, as the Guardian's France correspondent, in his little Guardian profile picture, wears a black and white horizontal striped t-shirt. He is from America.
That's right. He's from America.
He's
that makes sense. He's wearing the onions on his belt.
Basically, yeah. Wearing a cravat, cheating on his wife, etc. Yeah, he's.
I was just looking up mime and vape, and the only thing you sadly get is like carry cases. There's no vape for mime specifically.
Well, surely the mime and vape is invisible.
Yeah.
That'd be a really good mime trick, actually, if the like actual vape unit was invisible, but still the cotton came out, like the clouds. I was like, that's a good mime. That's a fucking good mime.
That's not a good mime. That's a cold mime.
So, there you go. The I love Alexander Hurst. He is just preparing himself for falling for Macron too, because every article he writes about French politics is like, here's the new rising star of like of the French left, and it will just link to some like nobody politician from Paris who's basically Mr. Burns wearing the like mustache called like Mr. Snob or whatever. He's just like, he always picks like the most business friendly, absolutely rizless candidates from like the 16th arrondissement, and just like says this is the future of the left, and he's gonna bring, you know, he's gonna be responsible, unlike those Bernie bros, Mélenchon bros, who want to do things like be nice to all those protesting students. Should also mention he's a lecturer at Sciences Po, which is like one of France's fanciest universities. Also, everyone he says is the future of the French left also went to this university. Coincidence? And he was also like in favor of like getting rid of all those pro-Palestinian encampment people that happened at Sciences Po before the like French police started being French police to them.
Yeah, I mean, so, and also like this sort of on a bigger point in France, especially like broadly speaking, over 2 rounds, the people of France may not have like expressed like a majority opinion for the NFP, but they certainly, you know, voted against having fascists in government. I think that's like the one position that you can make pretty clear out of what happened after the second round. And, you know, instead of delivering, you know, a literal democratic mandate, the sitting president just says, nah, fuck that noise. How about I just do a backroom deal with some fascists instead? It's just like, what is the point of voting, and what is this sham of a democracy? Like, at this point, like, you know, this is you know, the French have like a sort of a remaining, you know, ability to rise up and cause real trouble, but this is bullshit to like the largest fucking possible degree, and, you know, does not bode well for the future. Oh, absolutely. But it's unlike the UK, where I think like your voting system has kind of like doomed you to just kind of like accept Labour warts and all. The French system, I think, has resulted in like so you have like Anne Hidalgo, who's like the mayor of Paris, who's like, oh, why didn't my party go along with the like obvious trap that was being laid for it? How dare they not vote for like, you know, business-friendly racist number 2. Like, while the rest of, like, the center-left party, now that all the Blairites have jettisoned into Macron's project, are actually starting to reckon with themselves of, like, oh, if we actually stick to left-wing principles, people vote for us. And when we don't, they don't vote for us. And we get, like, 0.6% of the vote. So they're, like, radicalizing slightly, so that's a consequence. Various people from various parties are trying to like challenge all of this legally by like referencing legal documents literally written by the woman from the painting with her tits out. Like, they're going back to laws written in like the fucking like 1600s, being like, what the fuck's going on, man? This is not how this is meant to operate. So, and also hasn't been said yet, but like Le Pen can just crash this whole project by Macron at a moment's notice whenever she feels like it. So like, yeah, I don't know. I think
I think he's fucked it for himself long term, but it's just going to suck. For the short term.
I would definitely agree with that. And also like I think we'll leave it off for France there. So we either have a bumper crop of Commodore Commentariat, or I've just found an article of the top 10 Pokemons most likely to vape. So we can do either.
Yes.
Number 10,
there,
by the
there
way, just to give you the introduction, number 10 of Pokemon's most likely to vape is Mr. Mime. So this is French poll still.
Mr. Mime is already number 10. This competition is blown wide open. I thought that would be much earlier. There was a great website. I think it's gone now. It was literally called dotheyvape.com, and it would just pick two random. It would pick two random celebrity IMDb pages, and you had to in a dead heat, you had to pick which one was more likely to vape.
That's quite disappointing. I thought it was just going to pull
dotheyvape.com.
random video game characters and just state whether or not they vaped. Does Luigi vape?
Luigi vapes. No. Mario doesn't. I feel like that's...
Yeah, that's
I think Mario just still
does
rollies. Just hold on.
No, Rollies feels that's a Waluigi thing.
Yeah, fair.
Mario's got a 20
Anyway,
deck
shall
under
we
his
play
hat.
some Commodore Commentariat?
Yeah, we should. Right. Ironically, it is the law-abiding, school-attending Gen Zs for whom the woke pendulum has well and truly swung too far, who have become particularly intolerant of the bad behaviour of their unruly peers. Unlike their I know my rights millennial elders, still obsessing over pronouns and puberty blockers, your average Gen Zer is a bit like the children of Thatcher. They're children of Thatcher, Gen X parents, in believing in personal accountability. Many of them found lockdown so difficult precisely because there were no boundaries and the decision-making was so nonsensical. Like the rest of us, they prefer a rules-based order, provided it's fairly enforced. Some went off the rails, but most didn't. Is that comment or commentary?
Fucking hell.
Okay, hang on. That one does not vape. I'm just gonna put that out there. This person does not vape.
Oh,
that's commentary.
That's commentary. That has to be commentary.
I'm gonna go comment just to see what I get.
You get the buzzer from Family Fortunes because that was commentary. That was Camilla Tominey in the Telegraph, or Tomini, or Tomine, or whatever the fuck you say that name. Feral children and their feckless parents are leaving the rest of us living in fear.
Yes.
All right, next one. Law enforcement were like the Keystone Cops during that whole episode, so you can't rely on law enforcement or the Secret Service to investigate themselves. Their first instinct is to cover up, lie, and deny. It will take congressional hearings under oath to find out what happened. Even then, we may never know. Is that comment or commentary?
Comment. If that's commentary, that is the most poorly written shit I've ever heard.
Like,
what was the second sentence? Like, all that stuff? But they literally just go, and all that stuff, or whatever. Like, what was that line?
Yeah, that's comment.
Yeah, comment. Fuck it.
Yeah, that was a comment in the Daily Mail on an article titled Melania Trump demands answers to the mystery behind Donald's assassination attempt. There is definitely more to this story. Going to a workplace is much more invigorating than operating from home. In the office, one is able to interact with much younger people, understand their interests, and gain access to their insights. The social interaction is uplifting.
Beep.
Most importantly,
Beep.
it is terrific for mental agility. Is that comment a commentary?
That's commentary.
The main perk of my job is being near young people. What the fuck is that?
And that was Alex Brummer in the Daily Mail. I'm still working at 75, and why midlife shirkers should get back to work and do the same.
Fuck off.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
And then,
Okay,
as a treat, I've pulled 2 extra paragraphs from this fucking column.
Oh, come
Oh,
on.
Mr. Ambassador, you spoil us.
I want to pitch a grand unifying theory, because one of the things that I was thinking about this one is that this person does not vape. So I'm thinking commentariat does not vape. Comments do vape.
So we'll see if that holds true then.
Yeah.
Anyway, the bonus paragraphs. My main reason for still working is that I believe that my economic and geopolitical journalism still has something to offer today.
Off.
It is as relevant as 5 decades ago when I was writing about what the sterling crisis, the winter of discontent, and Britain's 1976 application and loan from the International Monetary Fund. And then...
Oh, if that younger version of myself could see me now writing about how it's nice to be in an office.
Yeah, well... One must recognise that working in an airy office in central London with the freedom to comment on the nation's financial and economic affairs is far more rewarding than many other jobs.
Fucking hell.
I do it for free on a podcast. It's pretty great, actually. I'm in bed right now.
It is podcasting after dark. Hurrah!
I've got a little sleep cap on. It's great.
Will he leave, though? It's very much a type. The right-wing celebrity who threatens to emigrate if Labour wins. Katie Hopkins in 2015. Paul Daniels, Frank Bruno and Jim Davidson in 1997. But they mostly don't. Although Davidson did eventually go in 2004 to Dubai, where, weirdly, the institutional racism and misogyny didn't seem to bother him. Is that comment a commentariat?
Fucking hell. Is it comment or commentariat? Is it vape or not? Is it honk shoe or honk me?
Okay, I think it is vape. I think it is comment. I think it is honk shoe. Putting it out there.
Commentariat.
I think it's commentariat, and I think it's the Rosa Klebb vape shoe.
That was Giles Collins.
Oh, fuck off!
In the Times.
Ooh. All right. Sorry, I'm just posting. I'm building a graph for matrices of common commentary at vape. It's one of these 3D XYZ graphs. I think there's a fruitful paper in this.
We must all hope that we are not called upon again to fight a total war against a vicious enemy posing an existentialist threat to us and our way of life. But when one notes the malevolence and proximity of Vladimir Putin, the interference of Iran across the Middle East, the opportunism of China in imposing its values on much of the world, and our signal inability to prepare for it by increasing our defence budget to a sensible level, who would like to put money on our people not being called upon again, as twice in the 20th century, to save our country? And what is the chance of their willingly doing that if they have been brought up to despise it? Is that comment or commentariat?
That's commentariat. That has to.
Oh, man. Like, if you have to choose between, like, despising the UK and, like, dying in the frigid mountains of Iran, because that's one cold-ass country as well. It's like, I don't know. I would simply despise Britain.
The fucking China imposing its values on fucking who? This is who have they done this to?
You don't understand.
I mean,
they're building roads.
Yeah. They're making trade deals with people.
But the criticism of China has always been they don't give a shit about what happens in the internal affairs of other countries. This has always been you can't do both. No one in Iran is acting more Chinese. That is not fucking happening.
Yeah. Ironically, if they started acting more Chinese, they'd be acting more British.
But it's just Turkey joining Belt and Road, and then 5 years later, they're all doing those vox pops that come out of China every so often, being like, "Yeah, I don't really get potatoes. This sucks. I don't want to eat potatoes. I miss rice." I'm sorry. I have to derail. Have you ever seen those vox pops? Whenever like the news is slow, there's always just like they revisit China's plan to get people to eat more potatoes because they're like a way less intensive crop than rice. Like less water, less land, etc. And it's always just like, and we interviewed these students who were eating at a potato restaurant. I was like, I don't really get it. This sucks. I want rice.
What I'm hearing there is there's an opportunity to like franchise Spud You Like in China.
What is the charge?
I'm sorry.
What is the charge? Eating
China
a
already
succulent Spud You Like.
I'm sorry, have you not seen Irish Potato? The chain? Ireland's Potato.
No.
The chain in China.
No?
Of various types of potatoes that you can get, and them stuffed with various things.
Oh, that sounds banging.
It's called Ireland's Potato.
Oh my god, that does look fucking...
Taipei's.
The logo is just madness. It's so cool.
Yeah.
I might have to change my fucking... Look at that. That's so good.
It's so good. This potato is so fucking sinister.
Yeah.
That looks like the potato cousin of the Partick Thistle mascot.
It really is just going to the graphic design firm in Shenzhen and being like, okay, I needed to communicate the things that all Chinese people understand about Ireland, and the guy just turns back to so nothing. You know nothing about it.
Oh dear.
Yeah, well anyway, that was Simon Heffer in the Telegraph. Young people will not fight to save a country they've been taught to hate. Good.
Yeah, fair.
Right.
They took away my zombie knife. I can't fucking fight.
That's right, like. All right, it's time for the commentariat 2, the Royal Special.
Yeah. If you're wondering why, by the way, it's just because this is what it is. Sucks to suck.
Yeah. Now, once upon a time, I would have been happy to have seen a Romanov-style elimination of the whole lot, or at least their banishment to Lower Saxony whence they came. But over the years, the likes of presidents like Trump have convinced me that a presidential system has flaws. Is that comment or commentariat?
Sie müssen zu Niedersachsen gehen.
Yeah. Thüringen, very bad state, folks, Thüringen.
I was once fully on board with Bolshevism, but after seeing Trump, I love the royal family.
You are being deported, but lucky for you, there are 3 Saxonies you can pick from to go to. Saxony Original, Saxony Anhalt, and of course Lower Saxony.
Yeah.
Would you like to be more Czech or more Dutch?
Yeah, no Anglo-Saxony though, because the wokes took that away from you.
Yeah. We do not have the budget to send you to Denmark.
I would simply go back and re-establish Jute Saxony. That would be better.
Oh, fucking hell. Comment. That has to be a comment.
Yeah, that was a comment in The Independent. Sir Ian McKellen says he's most definitely on Prince Harry's side, as he reveals the late Queen was rude to me.
That is absolutely 100% the rubric you go by. Like, if you've met any of them, if they were not nice to you, you side with the others. I don't care. And also, since you've mentioned the royal family, I do have to ask.
Lizards, yes, all lizards.
Do they vape? I've posted. I have posted the immediate royal family tree, and I have to ask which one of them vape.
Prince George, definitely. Diana would have if she'd survived long enough. Anyway, we've got more to go.
Maybe that's why she was killed, because she was the first
Princess
one to have
Diana
an experimental vape. It was Philip Morris in that Fiat Uno, I tell you.
She had the Master Sword vape. There's no Princess Diana themed vapes.
Oh,
I am so
that
disappointed.
is genuinely surprising.
Yeah, that is a growth market, people.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, Sheen is a woke lefty Republican, so he would never have a negative biased opinion of anyone in the royal family, would he? Is that comment or commentary?
Ooh. Comment?
I'm gonna say commentariat, but does vape.
Comment.
Yeah, that was a comment in the Daily Mail. A very royal scandal star, Michael Sheen, reveals what he really thinks about Prince Andrew scandal and how he prepared for ambiguous role.
I genuinely thought you were talking about the Chinese fast fashion company.
So, like, I don't know. In the meantime, I can offer you this baby T-shirt with the line "Princess Diana would have loved vaping."
Yes. Stop merch. How is this not merch for your podcast?
It is now.
Fucking hell. What a time to be alive.
Oh my god. and only for the low price of 23 Swiss francs. Hey, why not?
Oh. All right. If we believe in free speech,
It must be true. It's on this baby's t-shirt.
I might actually. I have a friend of mine who has a 1-year-old. I might actually have to order this.
Do it. Absolutely.
definitely like.
I have a 4-year-old and I'm thinking of getting it for myself.
Oh, right. If we believe in free speech, then we must uphold both the right of McKellen to say what he thinks, and for those of us who disagree to say what we think, and for both sides to do so without penalty. The richly deserved knighthood was awarded for outstanding acting, for heaven's sake, not for the correctness or otherwise of political views. We live in a society now where people, including the young, regularly self-censor, where the police can actually say they want to check somebody's thinking, brackets, none of your darn business, officer, where people have suffered disciplinary action or even lost their jobs for holding traditional moral views, where any overt display of Christianity in the workplace can be deemed offensive, and where people can be debanked for holding perfectly lawful views. All Orwell got wrong about 1984 was the date. Is that comment or commentary?
Christ.
Fuck off. Commentaria. Is it Brendan O'Neill just because
1984? Yeah, I was going to say it's Brendan.
He also said we live in a society, which is also a very Brendan move, I feel like.
That was Anne Widdecombe in The Express.
Oh.
Ian McKellen might have insulted the late Queen, but he deserves a right to free speech. Oh, that's good of you.
We won't hang him today.
The British have kept faith in the monarchy precisely because of the strength of its bonds. Over the course of the royal family's turbulent history, love has always proved to be the tie that binds, from Queen Victoria's adoration of Prince Albert to the unity shown by George VI and the Queen Mother during the Second World War. One of the reasons the late Queen remained so popular was because of the liege man of life and limb who devoted his life to her service. Yes, those foundations may have been shaken in recent times, not least by the acrimonious departure of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex from royal life. Is that comment or commentariat?
Oh, fucking commentariat.
Yeah. I love how they bring up King George and be like, yeah, who was the guy before him? What was his deal? Hey.
Yeah, that was Camilla Timoney again in the Daily Mail. Scenes of Prince and Princess of Wales kissing reflect their love in a time of turmoil.
Oh, fuck.
Right, there's one more, and I want you to fucking buckle up for this one.
Okay.
I've written a prayer that I hope everyone will recite. The power of prayer can be mighty indeed, and the Lord will provide, especially if many people use it. Heavenly Father, we come before you with humble hearts, seeking your guidance and support in these challenging times. We lift up Prince Harry to you, asking for your wisdom and protection over him and his loved ones. Lord, we understand the complexities and responsibilities that come with public life. As he navigates his legal appeal for taxpayer-funded security, we pray that... we pray that justice prevails and that his rights, as well as the safety of his family, are upheld and protected. Grant clarity to those making decisions in this matter. May they recognise the importance of security for individuals who serve as symbols of hope and inspiration to many. Surround Prince Harry with your loving kindness, ensuring that he feels your presence in every step of this journey. We trust in your divine plan, believing that you watch over all of us, especially those in the public eye who face unique challenges. Bless Prince Harry with strength, courage, and peace as he pursues this appeal. In your name we pray. Amen. Is that comment or commentariat?
I don't know.
I think it's really great that the Church of England now has its own shahada. That's great.
I mean, is a papal bull from Pope Francis like commentariat? I guess.
I'm going to say commentariat. I really want that to be commentariat.
This does strike as the kind of like insane thing that someone would just write on Quora. I think just completely unprompted underneath, like the original question is like, would Batman win against Master Chief? I think this is comment.
Someone who doesn't vape.
That was a comment in the Express.
Oh.
The article was Royal Family Live. Prince Harry locked in frightening battle out of King Charles's hands because he apparently wants like the police to protect him when he's in Britain. And a lot of the commenters think they shouldn't because of, like, you know what I mean? The fact that he married a degenerate.
Yeah, fair enough.
Well,
thank
fuck that's over. Good fucking lord. That fucking t-shirt is still staring at me. I need to click off that.
Do you think you could send that to, like, one of the royal babies? You think Archie would like that? Or?
Oh, God. Okay. Anyway. Kieran, thank you very much for coming on. Would you like to plug anything?
think I'll take the remaining 4 minutes to round this up to a 2-hour podcast. Yes. You can find me over at Corner Späti, the podcast about European politics. You can find that handily on all of the podcatchers, Spotify and the rest, or OperationGlad.io, the CIA operation about being happy with your mates and listen to podcasts.
The world's best fucking, website, by the way. Just the name is so good.
It's absolutely wonderful, but just being happy, listening to a podcast, chilling, AC on in the boot of a car in the middle of Italy. Totally alive, totally still. Prime Minister of Italy. Don't worry about it. And obviously, like anything else, we have a Patreon. You can go support us and get an extra episode a week because we do that. And we're on Twitter, which is dying, and we're on Instagram, which isn't. So go to that.
Also, if you Google Corner Späti and vape, you get a result of the original sugar babes hanging out in Späti. So the more you know.
Oh hell yeah! I had such a crush on all of them. This is my interests aligning at last.
Okay. For us, you can get 2 bonus episodes every single month. That's patreon.com/praxiscast. There will be no stream this week. We have alternative plans that you will suffer at a later date. And merch is also available, praxiscast.tmail.com. Is there a Princess Diana shirt? We just don't know. Go find out. Anyway, bye.
Bye.
See ya.
Make sure to buy the Princess Diana zombie knives from the Praxis Cast.
You should probably buy the anti-Diana zombie knife, because if she comes back, she's going to need, chopping.
She'll be pissed.
That's the plan. Starmer's disarming the populace before she returns.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
Strapping shit to my white Fiat Uno.